30 minutes or so, 25 because I've lost 5 minutes, talking about the Grove and Grove Junior. So I know I've been up here a lot, but my name is Krista and I'm married to John. And John also teaches on Mondays, so you'll see him around. He teaches the 8th grade in the afternoon. So he has a big beard. He looks homeless. I'm like, can I trim your beard? No, I love it. Okay. And so we've been married 30 years, and we have 10. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep, we just celebrated 30, almost 31. And trust me, by the grace of Jesus. Like, what'd you say?
I said they got married when I turned 50.
You think we got married when you turned 50?
50.
Oh my gosh. Why would you say that?
Your anniversary's on my birthday.
That just makes me feel so old, Tisha. Like,
You just got married young.
I did. I was 21. I was way too young. Yep. And so we have 10-ish kids. I'll explain the ish in a second. But I have 8, which I call the permanent ones. My oldest daughter is 29. She lives in Miami. She's married. We need to pray that she moves closer. It's too far away. I hate it. And I love her. She's so much fun. But thank goodness for FaceTime every day. So, and she's super close to my other kids. And then I have Jack, who's 18, and I started homeschooling him when he was in 1st grade. And he graduated from Go last year. And he lives across the street. We have about a little house across the street, so him and Isaac Peck live together across the street. It's like the best thing I ever did. I have a camera on them. They are like the best kids, though. They really, like, they're so awesome, and it's such a great little stepping stone. And he is leaving tomorrow for Thailand for 6 weeks. He's going on a mission trip, filming a documentary over there, so he's awesome. And then at home, I have a 14-year-old Diavion, who is 6'3". He looks like a grown man. He's only 14, mentally about 9. He's just like he's just a sweetheart. And then my 13-year-old Jamail, so he's going into 9th grade. Jamail's going into 8th grade. He's 13. And then I have what I call the triplets. So if you hear me say the triplets, you're going to be like, the triplets? They're not really triplets. The twins are 11. They are Johnny and Josiah. They're in 5th grade. And then Valea is almost 10. She'll be 10 July 1st. But she's also in 5th grade. So I held the twins back. And so it's just easier. When they were little, Valea's 2 feet taller than them. When they were little, I'd have all 3 of them in the stroller, and people were like, oh my gosh, are they triplets? I'm like, yes, I don't have time to explain it to you. So it's just easier to be like, yes, and to move on with my life. So that's why I call them the triplets. They're in 5th grade. They're amazing. And then my youngest is Addie Jean, redhead, going to send me to the asylum. So she is 7. And we fostered for about 11 years, and we fostered about 65 kids, and we adopted these 6. And so when we adopted Addie Jean at 1, we closed our license. And I said, I'm only going to take kids in if they're related to my kids. And so this year, 2 of Addie Jean's, the redhead's half-siblings, came into care. And so I've had Maddie, who's 8, who's now been reunited with Mom, although she spends the night with us like 2 or 3 nights a week. And then the 1-year-old, she was a baby. And so she's still with me, but moving towards going back to Mom. So those are my ish. So there's always an ish in my house. And then my mom, who has dementia, also lives with us. So how many is that? 11, 12, I don't know. I feed a lot of people every night. So, but I've been homeschooling for about 14 years, and then this program, the afternoon program that we're going to talk about, is our 3rd to 5th grade class. I've been teaching the IEW and grammar for 5 years, and you can ask Jenny, like, I was like, I'll never teach this stuff. I'm not even going to pay attention to this stuff. And now 5 years into it, I really love it. It's awesome, and it's really fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. And Grove Junior is our afternoon class for 3rd graders, and this is something new we've done. Actually, Jenny did this like kind of off the books, illegally, we'll say. She was illegally doing it. Sorry, she's a rebel. With our 3rd graders coming up, and it was always really helpful. It's not necessary for your 3rd grader to do it, but it does give them a great like little taste of it, so they know what to expect. And so it's a really great program for our 3rd graders. And then our Grove is our IEW and grammar and math games for our 4th and 5th graders. And this is our stepping stone, kind of Colleen already talked about it, into that logic, into that dialectic stage. And so it's really cool to start seeing them use, I even had a mom during the break be like, you know, is this memory thing, does this work, you know? And it's really cool to see how it does work and how it plays out in these older grades. So again, that dialectic stage is going to be that problem solving. They're going to take that memory work and apply it. Like, how do we problem solve? How do we analyze this? How do we compare this? one of the best ways to talk about that is like diagramming sentences. Like, why do we diagram sentences? I used to be like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Now I really like love it. It's fun. Me and Lucy Sprague. Lucy Sprague loves to diagram sentences. And it's just fun to see how it fits into to diagramming. And so like they've learned like what is a noun, what is a verb, right? They've memorized it. And now they're going to figure out, okay, how does that fit into this sentence? And then how does that fit into diagramming the sentence? And it's just like a little cool jigsaw puzzle. And it's really fun. I used to hate it, and now it's like, this is a really fun thing. So that is like our Grove, my 30-year-old, I love you. Okay.
Aww.
They're so fun when they're adults, and they're great people. Okay. So, all right, so we're going to talk a little, I'll talk really briefly about Grove Junior. It is mainly a writing program. They're doing Bible Heroes, which is really fun. They're going to learn really, really basic how to outline stories, how to write stories. They'll also use their presentation skills. So we talked about learning how to present. They also present in the afternoon, which is great. Again, no pressure. Some kids do it. My triplets maybe never did it. I think they did the end of the year. They did a poetry. Yeah, because their mom's a loser, but it's fine. They did it a couple times, but this year they only did it a couple times too. So it's a progressional thing, but again, it's just another dipping their toe into presenting, into speaking. And this year we're also adding a little bit, I brought the books in here to show you guys. Kylene is teaching the Grove Junior. This is her second year teaching it, so she's got it down pat. No pressure, Kylene. So this is the Bible Heroes that they're gonna need. Looks like this for IEW. And it's obviously they're getting Bible, and they're getting writing, and they're getting some grammar. Like there's so many overlaps. It's not just like this is a writing program. There's always like overlaps in it. And so this is their Bible Hero. They will definitely need this book. You can get the teacher manual that goes with it if you want. Not required, but you can get it. Those will be out at the resource table. And then this year we decided to do, so in Grove we do something called Claritas's Fundamental Grammar. I taught Essentials through CC for several years. I like this 100% better. That's just my personal preference. It's laid out better. I feel like it's presented slower, although you're still getting all the same exact material. It's just done better, in my opinion. And so this year they're going to try to do the lower level fundamental grammar. So again, it's just dipping their toe into more they've memorized what a noun is. Now let's be able to pick a noun out. What are nouns? Like that kind of thing. And so this is just a workbook that they're going to use. Again, you don't have to do all the work. You can tailor it to your student where they are, but it's going to give them like a little, do we have any Grove Junior kids in here? Tisha, who's in there? Caleb, I'm not Caleb, Jacob, what? My baby.
Jacob,
Oh my gosh.
and Oliver.
Oh, fun class. Oh gosh. Fun class. I love it. Okay, so that's the Grove Junior. And they meet from 1:15 to 3:15. If you have a student in there, you need to be with them or be with another student that you have. I know a lot of us have multiple students. Okay, and let's go into Grove. Okay, so Grove, if you're a student, how many fourth graders do we have in here? Do we have any fourth graders? Okay, there will be crying. Let me put it out there right now. There will be some tears. It really, especially if they didn't have Grove Junior, sometimes it's just a lot. But trust the process of it. Like, it's going to develop a skill in them. It is hard. It's supposed to be hard because they get this curriculum. They used to get it 3 years in a row, and they will get the IEW the third year, but they're getting the same exact material 2 years in a row. So they are not supposed to master this information at the beginning. They're only supposed to master about 35%, 40% of it. And then the next year they'll get the additional amount, and then the next year the additional amount. So it's supposed to be a progressional thing. So again, you're going to tailor that to your fourth grader. Your fourth grader is probably going to do different work within the context of the material than your fifth grader. And I'll talk about it in class how to tailor that. So for example, if we're writing a 2-paragraph paper, maybe your fourth grader only writes 1 paragraph. Things like that you can tailor it to your student's level. But it is hard. Like, it's going to be a challenge for them because it's like a new skill for them. And it is very like progressional. So we'll learn a little bit the first week. We'll learn a little. It's going to add onto itself. So this year, because we've never done a cycle 4, Well, let me just talk about grammar first. I said grammar, your teaching manual, you have to buy this, is called Fundamental Grammar. Okay, it looks like this, and it lays out every lesson. I will give you in orientation the actual, like, what week we're going to learn, but typically we do one lesson a week, and it lays it out for you pretty simply, which is different than other curriculums. I won't bash the other curriculum. This is just easier laid out, and it has oral exercises you can do with your student. It's really simple, and you just want to take it one at a time. So the grammar is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's just building on things they already know. So in class, we'll say, what is a noun? And they'll all just start singing the song. So it's great. And if your student, I think we have a 4th grader, this is their first year, they will pick up on it super, super quick. So not a problem that they don't have the memory work. Okay, so this says cycle 3, so you don't want cycle 3, but I just want to show you. The other book that is required is, it'll say cycle 4, unit 1 and 2. This is a consumable workbook. And I really recommend you do this. This is something that's been really helpful. So it just reinforces the lesson. So it gives them actual examples of finding a noun, finding an adjective, that kind of thing. So super helpful. I don't recommend the 4th and 5th graders getting this workbook. This is, unless you have a very highly advanced 5th grader that loves diagramming sentences, you don't need this. So this is just diagramming sentences, okay? I will give them sentences. So we created, actually a friend of ours, Kendra Hall, created sentences that are just a little more simple to go with each unit when we start diagramming sentences, which is about halfway through. So you could get this. I don't assign these except as like bonus ones, but if you wanted to, you can, but it's not required. I will give them sentences to diagram. Yeah.
So the fundamental grammar is the same one from last year,
Yep.
or you just buy a new workbook?
Yep, if you have this already, you do not need to rebuy it. This you use every single year. Yeah. It's not consumable. It's like just teaching material. So, yep. Good question. I think what else I want to say about grammar. Okay, the other thing you have to buy with grammar is the charts. And those you can just download. I think they might be $10. And I'll teach you guys how to put together their little, you wonder who that is, right? Definitely not my daughter. Transformers. So this was Josiah's book that I put together. And so it just has like a pouch with this pencil. You have to have a pencil in the afternoon. Please bring a pencil. We spend more time. I don't have a pencil. I don't know who has a pencil. Gotta have a pencil. And then you will download the charts. And these are charts that we will memorize. Again, there's still memorization work. There's still going to be memory work, and it's kind of going deeper than the memory work they learned in Greenwood. So for like a sentence, right? Like Thomas, he learned the 5 parts of the sentence. Well, now he's going to learn the 4 sentence purposes. So there's still memory work to be had. We're building on our information. And so they'll basically have one chart that's filled in, and they'll have one chart that's blank, and they just copy them. So every week they'll just copy them and memorize them. Okay? And so that's just building on our foundation. And so there's, I don't know, 20 charts in here. We'll go to nouns. And I put them in these, what are these called?
Page protectors.
Thank you, page protectors. And they just write on those and then they dry erase them. Okay? Really super easy. So we'll talk about this in Grove orientation. So that's the charts. Yeah.
Isn't, I haven't, because I haven't studied this well, I should know this answer, but the charts are the memory work, I believe, most
Yes.
of it. So
Yes.
it's not like you're getting extra, that's what's actually kind of
Yeah.
cool about it is for the first time the kids open it up and they're like, wait a second.
I already know
I know
this.
songs, but they've been learning it in little pieces. Now they're putting it together and putting that puzzle together to where it's all starting to make sense.
And we're going to apply it when we're diagramming our sentences, or we're looking at a sentence and picking out the 9. But you're right, they've already memorized the 4 sentence purposes. They've already but like the sentence patterns, they're like, why did we memorize these in kindergarten? Well, this is why, because now we're going to show you what does that look like in an actual sentence. Does that make sense? Okay. I mean, there are, like, for example, verbs. Verbs is like 5 pages. They've memorized the helping verbs and the linking verbs. But now we're saying, okay, what does that mean? How does that relate to the nouns and the pronouns in the sentence? Does that make sense? Okay. So So that's like your students will have a notebook like that. Okay, so that's grammar.
Krista, is that
Yep.
afternoon for 4th and 5th graders or 4th, 5th, and 6th graders?
Well, there is a class for 3rd grade through 12th grade in the afternoon.
Okay.
So, but for Grove, it's just 4th and 5th grade. 6th grade, we've been massaging that for a couple years now. This year, they're going to do it totally on their own. They still are going to do IEW and do grammar, but it's going to be separate because we have so many students. Yeah. So 3rd grade is separate. 4th and 5th grade is the Grove, and then Orchard Junior will have their own thing. That's 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And Jenny will talk about that, I think, right? Okay. So that is the grammar portion of it, and then we also do the IEW, which I alluded to. IEW, if you have a student taking IEW, that's 3rd through 6th grade, you need to make sure to have this book, Style and Structure. This book you'll use for all your IEW students. This is the videos we're watching. And I put some stuff in GroupMe. We're going to have another video watching for what we watched the other day, and then we'll do part 2. It takes usually like 4 Zoom calls to get through. It's like 10 hours of teaching you guys, but it's really good stuff. This book is really helpful. It'll make more sense as you sit in class, and this is why it's really important to be with your student. As we teach it, this will make more sense about what we're teaching. So this is like your teaching guide. And then this year, and I don't have a copy of it yet, usually our cycle 1 through 3 are based on history. So cycle 1 is ancient history. So again, it's not just writing, but you're also getting some history. Again, like Kylene said, there's some issues, gaps, leanings, but we talk about that. So ancient history is cycle 1, medieval history is cycle 2. We just finished US-based history. And so this 4th cycle, we're like, do we do modern history, which that modern history book is like this, and I was just like, for 4th and 5th graders, this just seems a lot to me. So we started to look at like some other choices, and we landed on to try this year. It might not be what we do 4 years from now, but we decided to do Wonders of Science. So they are, oh yeah, they're getting science through writing. Okay, there we go. So it's gonna be, I've never taught Wonders of Science, so I'm kind of excited about it. We'll see what they say. So you need the Wonders of Science IEW book. You don't need the teaching manual if you don't want it. It is helpful in my opinion, but you don't need it. And so that'll be fun this year to go through that. So we do 45 minutes of grammar-ish, we do 45 minutes of writing, and then we do 30 minutes of math games. And the math games, everybody is doing a different math curriculum in our class. So we are just doing reinforcement. We do fun at the beginning, we do a lot of adding kind of games, and then we kind of move into some multiplication. We just do kind of, kind of fun, games to kind of reinforce the basic skills, adding, multiplication, that kind of stuff. They love it. Their favorite game is Steal the Bacon. I was going to say Steal the Potato. What's wrong with my brain today?
Do that this year.
What?
Do that this year.
Steal the Potato? Get a like live potato. I love it. They love that game. We can go and use the gym. And so we try to do that in the middle just to kind of break it up where they're like getting out of their seat, and because it is a lot of teaching stuff. So, okay, so I'm trying to think math, grammar. At the end of there, let me go back to the writing real quick. We write about 23, 24 papers. It's a lot, you guys. And so at the end of the year, I should have brought the book that you guys put together that I never do. Amanda, at the end of the year, you can take, so each week they'll write a paper that looks something like this. Okay, all right, it looks like this. This is like a 1 paragraph. They end up getting to 2 paragraphs. They do three paragraphs. So it kind of builds on itself. So this is like one of the first. This was lesson 2. Okay. So they'll write a paper. They'll turn it into me every week in I want to keep calling these dry erase boards. Page protector. And in that page protector, they'll have their paper. They'll have their rough draft. They'll have their checklist. And then they draw a picture. And we do something fun. They like vote on the picture each week. One of the fun things that we do in Grove is the students they earn tickets every week. And at the end of the semester, we do a big party. We have a treat. They get to turn in their tickets to buy Dollar Tree prizes. It's their favorite thing. Silly, they could probably go and spend $5 at Dollar Tree, but yeah, they love it. And so they'll turn this in each week. And at the end of the year, one of the parents will take all of just their papers and put them and bind them in a book. So you'll have 25 papers that they've written in the year. It's a great thing to have, great thing to show your evaluator if that's what you do. And their pictures too. They do the pictures and, right? You turn those in, Lisa. Okay. So that's their papers each week. They will read their paper to the class each week if they want to. You don't have to. Again, there's no pressure. And so again, another opportunity to do public speaking. And I guess the last thing I want to show you about that is if you look in your green book, I gave you a sample checklist. If you guys want to pull that out real quick. This is just a sample. I hand this out to the student each week. And it tells them exactly what to do. And again, this is preparing them for 7th grade where they're going to have a checklist. When they get into 8th grade, they'll have just a weekly checklist, right? So it's preparing them to start learning how to manage their time and how to do their work on their own. It's a progression, right? So I'll tell them each week what charts, I'll put on here what charts they should do that week. And they can get a ticket for each check mark. Parents need to be watching this. We had a couple students checking. Lots of boxes. In the fundamental grammar, I'll tell them what lessons they have to do, what page numbers, what diagramming sentences. We do not do a spelling curriculum. That is on your own. You can do a separate curriculum if you want. That's on you. I tend not to get to that, but you can do it on your own. And then we have the IEW portion. It'll tell you exactly they need to do their rough draft. They need to do their final draft. It'll tell you what they're supposed to do here. And then again, their math is on their own, but they do get a ticket up to 4 days if they do their math that week. And they can just check it. Also, the IEW in the back has vocab, and we do study and do games to memorize the vocab each week. And there's little cards in there. We'll explain how to do that. So each week, they'll turn this into me. I will give them tickets back. Make sure you understand, I am not going to be grading or reading your students' papers. I do not have time to read 22 papers a week. I don't even take them home. You guys are their teacher. I'm just like facilitating the information. They'll read it in class, but your parents, you guys are in charge of that. I'm not going to be doing that. Checklist, anything else about the checklist, Lisa?
So Amanda shared last year, and I found it really
yes.
helpful for my daughter.
Yeah.
Highlighting, like breaking this down for your kid, because they're not going to touch on, some of this every day. So like style practice is only going to be one day. So I went every Monday night or Tuesday morning, I would go and I would start highlighting and break down her week so that she didn't have to feel overwhelmed, like, I have to do this every day. So like complete keyword outline, you're going to do that the first day. So I just put a pink, highlighting mark on Tuesday for her day 1. So she knew that was the only day she had to do her keyword outline. So then reread the keyword outline, write rough draft. That was done on Wednesday. So I would highlight the second box. And then she would go and check off that box. So she wasn't like, I have to do 4 days. And that really made a difference for her not to feel overwhelmed by the look of this. Because they're not doing all of these things every day. So.
Yeah, and it's really helpful. And again, you know your kid and you know what they can do that week, and you want to just pick out the things that they can accomplish. And you can tailor it. And we'll talk in class too, just like certain things that you can do to tailor the checklist to your student so that they're successful. Yeah, so that's a really good help. I wish I had a copy of it. I know, I should have brought that one.
And if you have IEW and you have the little app or whatnot, which will probably tell you in the classes, but you can, there's some pared down versions of some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Or some advanced versions of some of the stuff
Right.
in the book.
Right.
Depending on what you think.
So the IEW website and the app have tons of materials so some of the reading can be tricky for 4th graders, and there are simpler versions that you can simply download and print out, and that's totally fine. You want to tailor it so your child is successful. And we'll talk more about that in when we actually do our IEW classes. The other thing, this is not a required material, but you can order this off the website. You can also use the app, has the same thing. But this is like a student resource notebook, and this has so we'll start doing what are called dress-ups, LY words, adjectives, band words, those kind of things. Those are all in here. There's lists of them in this book somewhere. Oh, they're there. So, and these are just helps. You want to we're not trying to trick your student. You don't have to come up with it. My kids could never come up with an L word adverb. But if I give them a list and we talk about them, they can choose it. And so there's also an app that's free. So if you don't want to buy this book, you don't have to. And that's a simple thing with that. All right. I think that's everything about Grove and Grove Junior. Oh, the last thing, at the end of the semester, we do a big research paper. It's like their big end of the year project. It's called Glimpses of History. I got it right this year? Yep. Glimpses of History. And they'll work on this probably all the second semester, or they're supposed to. It's going to be a 5-paragraph paper, and basically I don't know what we're going to do. I guess we're going to do scientists. Is that what we decided? We're doing Wonders of Science.
Yeah,
So we used to do what?
There's people.
Yeah. Yeah. So like we used to pick, you would pick a person from that history era. So this we're doing science. So we'll probably give them a list of scientists that they'll pick from, and they'll research on their own. They'll go to the library. There is a library still. You can go to a library and get books, and you'll do your research paper, and they get to dress up like the person. It's like a really fun event. The last 3 weeks of class. It's actually the second or third week. It doesn't matter. And it's just a really fun project for them. Also, that can be pared down. Like my triplets only did 1 paragraph. They just were not to the 5-paragraph stage. And so there's always workarounds to that kind of stuff. But it is our big project at the end, and it's really fun. And then we'll have a party and all the good stuff. So, yeah. All right. And we'll have a separate Grove meeting during the breakouts if you guys have additional questions about that stuff. So.